Good evening and welcome to episode 6, season 2 of A Whole Pack of Wolves podcast. I am here tonight with my co host again, as always, and Colby has decided to start Halloween early tonight. So, Colby, thank you so much for joining in. I'm your host, Justin Grice. Thank you so much again, Colby, for joining in. Tonight, we are going to be previewing the Louisville and the NC State game here on Friday night here at Carter Finley Stadium. So, in the spirit of Halloween and the spirit of the blackout, Colby has already gotten started with the Halloween costume this week. So, we are ready to roll and we're ready to preview this for you guys. So, we appreciate you guys joining us in tonight. We are going to do as we always do. We're going to give our keys to the game, our key players to the game, and then what we predict is going to be the outcome. So, Colby, I'm going to let you start today because last time I did started on the 3 keys. So I'll let you do your 3 keys to the game tonight.
My 3 keys for Louisville in particular will probably be can we run the ball on them effectively? I was listening to a few other podcasts, Red White, Pack Pride. They were all saying, that it's going to be a big deal if we can run the ball. If we are able to run the ball, we should be able to win the game. They do not play well against a team that runs all over them. And so if we can get a running game going, I feel like that's definitely a key to this game. Defense needs to not give up big shot plays. This running back can run all over you. He is talented. And the quarterback is, he's a pocket passer, so he can pick you off if you allow him to. One good thing about him is that he's not mobile, so we can get to him and he'll make him force some things. So we just got to make sure that the big plays don't happen. And then the last key is really just play our game. Play NC State football on a Friday night blackout. It's a blackout game. If you haven't heard it here before, wear black. As people been telling each other for about 5 days now, since the game was announced that it was going to be a blackout. Those are really the keys. I mean, if we just play our game, we run the ball effectively and play and don't give up big plays on defense, I just think this game is in our hands.
Okay. So, yeah, Colby, I definitely agree with you, especially about running the football as far as being one of the keys. That's one of the keys for my game, to this game as well for me. So, ultimately, we talked about it on our last show. We were talking about, how effectively Brennan runs the football. But that was the number one thing that I wanted us to do for this week was realistically get the running game going. And then the other thing, too, was stop the run. That was my secondary key for this particular game. Jawar Jordan's a beast. He is ridiculously talented. He's fast. He breaks tackles. He realistically gets downfield quick. And we've seen some big plays and some big runs from NC State's defense early on in the season. So that was definitely going to be my secondary key. And my third key was going to be get Bradley Rosner the football some more. I really want to see him establish himself. He really only had, about 7 targets last week and had 3 catches for 22 yards. So I'd like to see him get targeted more. Casey got the receptions and the yardage and the touchdowns because he got targeted. So Casey got targeted 10 times and he had 6 catches. So I'd like to see Bradley get a little bit more involved in the offense this week. So those were the 3 things I right away identified just because Louisville's offense really seems to get going once they have their running game going. So I realistically thought, if we're going to try and contain their offense, because their offense has been really good. I mean, they're top 5 in the country right now. but they also haven't really played anybody defensively. Like we talked about last episode, the top three of their games that they played, they've had defenses that were top 75 or worse. So we don't really know who realistically this true Louisville team is. So that was my biggest thing and that's really the strength of our defense too, is just containing the run. Outside of the one big run that Estime had against Notre Dame, I really thought they've done a really good job containing the run for the most part. I mean, there's been some big plays, but realistically, I thought they did a great job. Against Virginia, they gave up some big plays in the passing game, but realistically, I think we can contain Louisville too if we contain their rushing game. Their quarterback's not mobile at all, so we don't really have to worry about that, which we've had to worry about the last few years. I don't see Plummer really moving around in the pocket, running around, causing us to really spy like we did last week with Peyton. So those were my three keys. I mean, I really think that's going to be the tail of the tape is going to be who runs the football and who can't run the football and who stops the run. So that was really what I was pinpointing this week. But that was kind of where I wanted to go. But if you had any other thoughts, I'll let you add any other thoughts too.
Yeah, and I like that you talked about Plummer there. He's definitely the guy who you kind of look at and you say, I don't think he's very mobile. I don't think he's very, just agile. Kind of think of it as like he's just going to sit there and try to throw the ball. And I think if we get to him, I think he's either going to take the sack or just throw it out of bounds. Or he's going to try to throw it to somebody and we can pick it off. It's
I agree.
So he's not going to roll out of pocket. He's not going to run either. So, but I would say keep a spy out in case he does run, because I don't think he doesn't really have mobility. But any quarterback can run with their legs. I mean, we saw with Tom Brady could even move with his legs if you gave him enough room. So it's his mobility is probably the biggest question for him. But he does have a great arm. He definitely can hit the big shots. But like you said, he hasn't faced a defense that's top.
We're 43rd now, just so you know. Yeah, that'll help you out.
Top 50. Top 50. So
and getting better.
He hasn't
better each week.
He hasn't faced that. So I don't know. Just to me, it looks like it's not in his favor, at least.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing from what I looked at from stat wise, they've got the three pieces that you normally look for. You got the quarterback, running back, wide receiver. That's where you start with, right? But after that, it really doesn't have anybody that really stands out for me. Jordan is phenomenal. Plummer's been great, and they've had a really good, solid receiving game. But, they just don't have any other playmakers that I've seen outside of that. So realistically for me, I mean, I think Aiden White and Shaheem Battle are going to be super important this week to shutting down, their passing game. But I realistically think if we can hold the run and hold the point of attack up front, I really think they're going to have a good day defensively. I mean, it's realistically, we've played these type of offenses before. We play Miami, we played North Carolina. You see those spread type offenses and, big play passing games, and they're going to get some big plays, but your goal is to keep them out of the end zone. And realistically, State did a great job of that for 3.5 quarters, against Virginia, and they've done it before. So I really trust that they will continue to keep teams from breaking the end zone. They've been really good at red zone defense and third down conversion percentage too. The key to any real offense is continuing to have third downs and getting great third down, percentages on that. And State's been really good about getting teams off the field. So I think it's going to be a really tough matchup for them. It's going to test their secondary, especially since we're down a couple guys at safety. It's going to be really up to Fitzgerald, and it's going to be up to Sean Brown to really step up this week and show they really do belong. I mean, Brown's really, really come on this year. I mean, he's got 22 tackles and an interception this year too. So the more playing time he's gotten, the more he's been able to make plays. I mean, he's our second leading tackler right now, which is kind of odd to say, but he's played really, really well. I mean, obviously Peyton Wilson's pretty much sucking up everything at this point,
Yeah.
tackle wise, but Peyton's got 46 and he's got 22. So I really think Sean's going to be a very key component because he had some plays last week too where he just got beat. So you really want to try to limit those against Louisville this week, and I think that's going to be the number one thing to look out for, to make sure that we just don't give anything up over the top. So
Yeah.
But respectfully for them, they've got a really, really good football team. I mean, there's nothing that you see on film that would really say, yeah, this is just a really bad team. I mean, they have a really, really good set of playmakers, and they get the ball in the hands of their playmakers, which you and I have talked about for NC State. We want to see that. We want the ball in the hands of our playmakers, which we just haven't really seen that much until last week when KC kind of broke out. So I'd like to see us get more involved with our playmakers, and maybe would have the same type of offense that they do. So, but they do a great job of, blocking up front to give their quarterback time to get those downfield shots. And I really think Tony Gibson's design blitzes, though, are really going to give them fits this week. They just haven't really seen that type of attacking defense yet.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of what I've seen on film. It's what I've seen when I'm looking at watching their games. You see a lot of the speed, and they've always had those skill guys. I mean, ever since Lamar Jackson's been there, they've had skill players for years, but it's always just been keeping the contain, keeping everything in front, making sure you don't give anything up big over the top, and you should be able to win those games like that. So those were my threes. I wanted to add another one just as a bonus key was win the turnover battle. Make sure that we're taking care of the football, valuing our possessions a lot, making sure that we are the ones who are taking possessions away from Louisville and not giving them possession. So that was my bonus for the week. But I'll start off moving off next to my three key players for this week. I feel like I'm saying this like I'm repeating myself, but my biggest key player this week is going to be Michael Allen. He needs to be able to run the football this week, and they have to be able to establish him. He's got great yards per carry. They just haven't really given him the ball enough, and I don't think they've given Raphael or Michael Allen really enough carries. I think they've got to be able to take some of that pressure off Brennan from running the football and let those guys be your running game. Let Brennan be the passing game and let those guys be your running game. So I keyed in on Michael Allen offensively this week. I also keyed in on Rosner. He's my guy this week. I think he's going to have a big week. I don't know that Louisville's corners really have that type of size or the experience really to cover him. And I think I think this week is going to be his breakout week for me. And then my last third key offensive player was Brennan. I mean, it has to be a different game for him. He's got to play at the peak of his performance, peak of his ability. We need him to take that next step and really have a breakout game. You and I have talked about this for a couple of weeks. So we think Brennan's going to break out. We think he's going to break out. And then here we are week 5, and he's just still trying to figure it out. So, he even said himself, like, we're still a work in progress, but it's time for you to stop being a work in progress this week and start being progress. That's what I want to see this week. So I'll let you give your 3 key offensive players now. Those were mine.
3 key offensive players. I mean, any of the 2 running backs that we, tried to utilize, I think Michael Allen and Kendrick Raphael are going to be really important to this game. If we can get the ball running and we can run the ball on these guys and it opens up the passing game for us, it's going to be a good night for us. My other key player is definitely Brennan Armstrong. He just in past has not done well against Louisville. I was hearing somebody say on the Red White podcast, they were interviewing a Louisville guy who covers the Louisville team, and he says, like, when Brennan Armstrong was at Virginia, he did not do well against Louisville. And so we're hoping that doesn't continue with Louisville for Brennan, because I can tell you right now, Brennan plays bad. The MJ chance they're gonna start happening, and it's gonna look more and more like we will see in MJ if that's the case. And Brendan's just gotta come out, play his game, play what he knows and what he does best. So he's just got to come out and play. And then my last key player is definitely Bradley Rosner. Getting him going is essential because he's the biggest receiver we got.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think a lot of, especially fans, everybody loves the backup quarterback all the time. That's just how it is. But based on what Dave has said and how they've talked about it, they're going to do everything they can to redshirt MJ. So, I mean, it's going to be ride or die with Brennan, and I think that's just how it's going to be this year. I mean, if it's going to be a rebuild year, it'll be a rebuild year. And if it's going to be what we want it to be, then great. I think, MJ is definitely already in that position where he understands that's what's going to happen for next year. But I really think people just kind of need to temper their expectation a little bit if things continue offensively the way that we are. I mean, I still think they're capable of winning 8+. They're just going to be winning it in a different way, shape, and form than kind of what we thought. So I really expect Brennan to continue to get more and more reps, because the more and more reps you get, the more comfortable he's going to get with these guys.
Yeah.
And the more familiarity he's going to get. So I think we're going to see him for the rest of the season. That's just my opinion. I mean, who knows? I mean, I think barring injury, I think he'll be there until the end. But, I've kind of accepted that this season might be another one of those where we have to rely on the defense a lot. And I'm okay with that. I mean, the defense has played really, really well enough to win us games. We're probably not going to be able to be at that elite level of 10+. That doesn't mean you can't win 8 or 9 with this defense. I mean, that's just the reality. The schedule sets up well. 2, you're already 2-0 on the road. 2, there's only 3 additional road games from here on out. So, 3 of your last 8 are on the road, 5 are at home. So you're still looking at, if you get 2 out of 3 on the road and 4 out of 5 at home, you're still at 9-3. So you can't blame them for being where we are at that point. So I still think that'll be a really good season for us too. So that's just kind of how I look at it on that perspective. But I still think Brennan's just got to get going. He said it himself. He's got to get himself going and get the team going. So we'll see how they make some progress this week. I'm going to go to the defensive side too now, like we always do. That's my favorite part. I feel like I say this every week, but I really feel like Davin Van he's stepped up in a way that I didn't really expect. I mean, I knew he was going to have a great season, but he's definitely my number one key for this week. I think he has the ability to take on those blockers, and I think he's going to be the key to helping stop the run game this week for them. CJ Clark's kind of been another little underrated person. He hasn't gotten a lot of tackles, hasn't really gotten a lot of notoriety, but he's really done well on taking on blocks too. But, I'm going to go this week with my 2. I'm going to go 2 in the secondary this week, and one of them is going to be Sean Brown. I think he's going to have a key game this week for us, and I think he does. I think that's going to be one of the things that Louisville's going to try to attack. I think they're going to try to attack the middle of the field with our safeties, and I think Sean's going to have a really good day. And I think the other person that's going to have another good day in the secondary is going to be Shaheem Battle. I picked him out this week. They're obviously going to put him, on their number 1 receiver, and I thought he really stepped up last week. He had some really, really great tackles in the backfield, had some really great coverage downfield. I think he's poised to really have another big week this week. I think they're going to leave him and Brown out on the islands to help essentially stop everything over the top. So I picked those three out, but I'll let you talk about your three defensive players this week.
Yeah. I'm going to go with two position groups. D-line just needs to be sound. Like, our front seven needs to be sound. And that's, I guess, and when I say front seven, it means including the linebackers as well. Just got to be sound. Got to play sound. Got to get up there, and you got to make sure that running back regrets taking a snap. You know, like you gotta just play smash mouth football. You know, stop him at all costs. And you know, I know Tony Gibson. He's getting on the guys, and he's probably saying we got to stop him at all costs. So mainly the D line is definitely like a big factor with me. Another position group would probably be just the secondary as a whole. Stop all big plays, please. If you have to bat the freaking thing down, just bat it down. Or you could be like who was the one that batted it up in the air? And,
Fitzgerald last week.
Yeah, like Fitzgerald just bats it up, and Sean Brown just comes down with it. Like, I mean,
yeah,
just be acrobatic like that. You know, that's perfect like that. And then my last key on the defense, Peyton Wilson. I mean, you just gotta play your game, dude. Like, I mean, you just been tearing it up this season. So, like,
yeah,
he just needs to play his game. Like, he just needs to play his game and just thrive and just thrash them. Just show them why you are predicted to be a draft pick this year for the NFL. Like, that's all you need to do. And I personally, I just think the defense will take care of itself. Like, it's just a Tony Gibson led defense by now is just you don't have much to talk about because they're so good.
Yeah,
they try to be. You know, he expects the best. You know, so I got no problems. But if I had some keys, I would have to say Peyton Wilson, our D line, and our secondary.
Okay. I'm going to give a quick stat for you on Peyton Wilson just because I love the heck out of that guy. I could say Peyton Wilson is the key to every game from here on out, but dude's got 46 tackles in 4 games. I mean, he's on pace for well over 100 for the season. He is playing at an all-time level right now, and he's really healthy again. I really hope he continues to stay healthy for the rest of the season because he could realistically have one of the all-time great linebacking seasons for NC State. You know, it'll go down in history as one of the best ones that we've had. So I would really, really want him to get those records. I want him to keep playing as well as he has, but I also want him to play under control too, because sometimes, you know, we get the Peyton over pursue and then we get a backdoor big run off of it. So just make sure you got your assignments down this week. Peyton, you know, make sure you're not over pursuing because you're jacked up for this game because the crowd's going to be insane. It's going to be a night game at the Carter, so just don't get too jacked up for it. You know, just like you said, play your game, and we should be able to be in a position at least to be in a position to win the game in the fourth quarter, and that's all you can ask for. So, and like you said, just don't take your foot off the gas, Dave. We hit 21. Keep throwing it.
Keep that thing on the full throttle.
Bro.
Like, if you have to smash their will to live, just smash their will to live at this point. Yeah, like, Dave, just keep it down.
Yeah.
I don't want to see no conservative Dave this weekend. I need to see salty Dave. I need to see Red Solo Cup Dave.
We all love you, Salty Dave. I
love Salty Dave.
To be that type of coach that we want that can step on their throat when we have to. You know, everybody likes you, Dave. We just want you to be more, you know, put it to them. We want 38. You know, don't settle for 21, 28, whatever. Just keep the gas down. Keep as many points as we can get. which means obviously we got to value the ball too. But I understand a lot of times what he's doing, but at times I'm also like, just keep it going. Like, we got to keep scoring.
Yeah.
So game's not over until, clock hits 0. So, we found that out last week. So Virginia kept playing and kept fighting and, to the very last drive of the game. So sometimes it works out in your favor, but I do not want to be in those games every single time that we take the field. It seems like the cardiac pack just keeps coming out every single week, and I want a free week one time, Dave. That's all we can ask for.
I was going to say no cardiac pack, please. Like,
we just want a stress-free weekend.
Like, it's like I got to deal with enough with the Bills playing the Dolphins this weekend. Like, I yeah, and all the fantasy football I got to deal with. Like, come on, like, at least just win so I can have a stressful, non-stressful, let me clarify, non-stressful weekend. And then get to watch all the college football on Saturday.
Like, all the college football we want on Saturday, and especially we're going to be able to watch the actual football against UNC on Saturday too. So I would love to be able to go to a women's footy game on Saturday with no stress,
Yeah.
So let's kick off the weekend with that win, and then we can finish off the weekend with a win over our rivals in Chapel Hill. So, but Colby, that's all I got. I'm going to let you do your score prediction first, and then I'll do mine. But that'll pretty much wrap us up for this week as far as Louisville goes.
So I'm going to give you 2 scores like I do always. My realistic, unfortunately, my expectation for this game is 31-20 State.
Okay. What's your other one?
41-17 State.
Okay. So both of us were pretty close last week. We weren't that far off. You were a touchdown off offensively. I was a touchdown off defensively. So I'm going to split it this week. I'm going to hedge my bets this week. And I'm going to say that NC State's going to score 28 this week, and we're going to get 17 from Louisville. So I've got us covering the spread for the first time in the last 5 weeks. So including we're one of the only teams that has not covered the spread this year. So we're covering this weekend. So, don't hate me if you guys are out there on sports books. But Louisville is the favorite slightly. They're a 2.5-point favorite this week, but I think the Pack covers and wins. So I think it'll be a really solid game for us at night. I think they take advantage of it. The last time Louisville was here at night was also a night game ever. Well, yeah, one of the greatest games I've been to. Game ends on the Lamar Jackson interception. So let's hope that we don't have to do that again. But if it does, I'll take it. I'll walk out of there feeling good about that too.
I will walk out of there with like the biggest smile on my face. It's not even funny.
It's kind of odd too, because Jermaine Pratt had the ability. He had one land right in his arms last night, and so I was like, am I just rehashing these games? I'm like, we don't need any dropped interceptions this weekend. Yeah. So we'll see what we can get done. But we appreciate you guys listening to us as always. We will definitely be here for the post game as well. Colby and I will be here on Saturday for the post game review for us after the game. We hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the absolute blackout that's going to be here on Friday night. So we look forward to seeing you guys again. Thanks again for tuning in, but we will see you guys again next week. But for your host, Justin Grice, my co-host, Colby Pleasance, this is a Whole Pack of Wolves podcast, and we will be signing off. Colby, go Pack. As always, I'll let you finish off your deal too.
All right, Justin. Go Pack. Beat the Cards. And
I love it. That was awesome because that was a good right at 30.